everyone. My name is Julianne Meyer, and you are watching Own Your Wellness. And woo, sometimes I'm just going to get right into it. I don't always like to share really personal things because, especially when they aren't mine directly. But I was about to share this episode on my Facebook page, and of course, I'm like reading through other stuff on Facebook, and somebody that I care about passed away just a couple days ago, and it was something that is, yeah, I don't want to go into the details of it because it's not mine to share. That being said, we are sharing her story on Facebook, so if I mention I might mention a little something in today's show since we're talking about pills and like medicine and things like that. So here's the thing. You're probably looking at me and you're thinking, okay, well, what would she know? She's not a doctor. How would she know anything about pills? Well, I'm actually uniquely qualified to talk about this particular topic because one, I worked in pharmacy for I don't even know how long. Two, biochem major. So I went to school for biochemistry. Three, I also worked in addiction recovery. So I do understand the difference between using things for healthy and unhealthy reasons. So the things that we're going to talk about today are not just prescription pills. We're going to talk about vitamins and supplements and things like that, because sometimes we can do more harm than good when we're just trying to help ourselves. So, all right, let's start out with just regular good old prescriptions. All right, here's a little insider thing that maybe you guys don't really know or understand, and I want you to take this into consideration when you go and see your doctor. Okay, so your doctor went to school and either they're specialized in whatever they specialize in or they're a GP. Either way, they went to school for a really long time and learned a lot of important things. But that doesn't mean that they understand everything about nutrition. That doesn't mean that they understand everything about medications, okay? Medications. So here's the thing about medications. And I'm not saying let me preface this before I even go any further. I'm not saying don't take your medication. I'm saying I want you to make an informed decision about where you want to go with your health. So that's why I'm going to give you this information today. So the first things first is, like I said, the doctor doesn't really know about medicine, like the different medicines. So they get all of their information from the drug reps that are coming in. Okay. So they know what they're being sold. So they're literally the things that are popular. Since I worked in pharmacy, there's certain prescriptions that are more popular than other ones. There's first tiers, second tiers, and different sorts of levels of strength. So here's the thing. You might just be getting something because it's the most popular. It doesn't mean it's the best for you, or it might be because that's what your insurance covers. It might not even be that that's the best thing for you. So you really need to do your due diligence. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but how do you even do your due diligence? Good question, right? Well, where can you go? Well, one, there's always the internet, but that can be a lot more scary than it can be good. So I'd be a little nervous about doing that. But you know what? You have a million different experts right around you in your neighborhood, and they're called pharmacists. Yes, they are. So all you have to do is go and speak with your pharmacist about your medication and see if maybe there's a different medicine that would work better for you. They will know. They'll know better than your doctor will, simply because that's what they went to school for. Right? So that's something that you want to keep in mind when you are, trying to take a new prescription, or, you're considering a new one, or you feel like this maybe isn't the best one for you. Now, that's something that you really got to, be your own advocate for, because people only know what they know. Like, I wouldn't go to the car mechanic to have them, I don't know, to buy linens. Let's say I wouldn't go to the car mechanic to buy linens. I know it's a totally random thing, but my point is that you have to go to where the people know what they know. And so, yes, your doctor knows what maybe what your issue is. They're always doing their best guess. And then you go to your pharmacist to ask. Because I'm telling you right now, after working in pharmacy for as long as I did, because I had decided that I wanted to be a pharmacist, and that's why I went to school for biochemistry. Here's the thing: is in the pharmacy, The pharmacist is the one that catches your medication errors. The pharmacist is the one that's like, hey, this isn't right. Do you have any idea how many times we have called the doctor and said, are you sure you meant to prescribe this? Or are you sure about this dose because this is too high? Or, this interacts with blah, 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 blah. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're really curious about, what your medication is and what would be the best one for you, go to your pharmacist. At least you'll have an educated answer. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing too to consider is a functional doctor. Now, a functional doctor has all the education of a Western medicine doctor, but also different functionality. So it's more all-encompassing of your entire being instead of just what you're taught in school and books. So the thing is like what we know is what we know until it's not true anymore. I mean, I can only say it so many times. I hope I'm making sense and that this is like beating into your brain a little bit. But one person does not have all the answers. So you need to really be your own advocate. You've got to do some research. Like, my mom had cancer and she was all about her chemo and her radiation. Don't get me wrong, but she was also all about her alternative modes of healing. Now, the thing is there's no reason why you can't have a wellness team and that they can't work together. Now, if somebody can't work together with somebody else, that's an indication that maybe they're not on your team in the first place. They're only concerned about what they know and how, their own ego. So you really got to think about, is this person really going to work for me? And it's okay too, if you've been with somebody forever and all of a sudden it's just not jiving well. You don't have to stay loyal. You can go and move on to somebody else that will hear you again. Because think about it this way. When you're a little kid, your parents know you, but they're always going to see you in a certain light. Doesn't matter how much you grow and how much you change. They still see you as when you were little. I mean, not that they can't recognize your changes, but they also see you differently than somebody who has just met you because they have all this history with you. So it is okay for you to take a look at maybe branching out and adding to your wellness team. Now, this episode is not about whether or not you should take pills. Like I said before, this is more about making an informed decision as to whether or not what you're taking is actually helping you or is good for you. Now, I mentioned before that someone near and dear to my heart just passed away. And here's the thing, she was misdiagnosed. It happens a lot. And it's just, I mean, there's nothing really that you can do as far as, what happens, like we trust our doctors. But my point is that if you have a wellness team, then you can be combating whatever it is from all angles instead of just the one doctor. And then you can feel a little more confident in the choices that you make. And it's totally, okay to stick with one person and just do Western medicine, and that's fine. I just want you to know that you have options out there that might not necessarily be mainstream, but will work for you. So be open to it. Be open to adding to your wellness team, adding on, you could have different people, nutrition people, personal trainers, chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, all sorts of different people. Now, that's the thing with like pain in particular, because I know a lot of people get stuck taking pain pills for certain things, but it doesn't always work. And a lot of people don't always want to take pain pills and they're afraid of being addicted. I mean, that's a legitimate fear. So what can you do? That's when you start thinking about, okay, well, what are some alternative ways that I can help myself? There's different ways of meditating. There's different ways of journaling that will actually help rewire your brain so you can deal with the pain. It's always there, but how we interact with it can change. Don't believe me? Think about it this way. Let's say you always get angry when somebody cuts you off when you're driving. But let's say you just found out you won $1 million. Are you still going to be angry that that person cut you off? No, you could care less. So what I'm saying is it depends on where your brain is and where you're coming at the situation from. So if you can change your perception of something, then that can make the pain easier to deal with, the illness easier to deal with, wellness more enjoyable, because the absence of symptoms and signs doesn't mean that you're actually 100% well. It just means that you don't have any symptoms. And that's something, not that you need to go searching around for something to be wrong, but why not optimize your life? Because, like when you lose somebody that's close to you, as you guys know, sometimes it can make you think, oh, wow, this life is really precious. And I want to squeeze every single bit of juice out of this, right? Okay, so it is time for us to go to a commercial break. So we will be back in just a moment. Maybe we'll be right back. But don't you love live TV? Hold on a second. Okay, now let's try this again. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us now, I'm Julianne, and we're talking about pills, and more pills. All right, what does that mean? Here's the deal. Like I just mentioned before, your doctor does not have, that's not the best person to speak with about your medication. The best person to speak with about your medication is your pharmacist. I can't even tell you how many times, even as a pharmacy technician, I caught other people's medication errors. Like even my dad, oh my goodness, there was one that happened with my dad. I was like, why are you taking this high of a dose for this? Because it was like 3 times as much what he should be taking and an odd prescription brand. And I said something to him. So we went to his doctor, and his doctor's like, oh crap, I wrote the wrong one. So he had to get all this testing done to make sure that it didn't ruin his liver and all these other things. So, I'm just saying, like, this happens way more often than you think. So you really do have to be extremely diligent about your medication that you are taking. Now, that's only one part of it, though. It's not the only answer. I mean, people have been getting well without medications for the longest time. Now, like I said before, I am not advocating one way or the other about whether or not you should be taking your meds. What I am saying is make sure that you have all the information so you can make the best choice for you. This is your body. This is your life. You get to choose what you want to put into it. Literally. All right. So let's talk a little bit about over-the-counter medications. Whew. All right. So here's the thing. I'm going to give a shout out to good old Tylenol and their marketing schemes. All right. So when you are buying an over-the-counter medication, be aware that whatever they're advertising on the front of the box might not actually be accurate. So if you get, say, a regular Tylenol and Tylenol migraine, which is, I don't know, like say $4 more expensive than the regular bottle of Tylenol, if you look at the ingredients on the back, it's exactly the same thing. The only thing they're doing is writing 4 migraines on the front. So be very, very aware of that marketing scheme. They're just charging you more for exactly the same thing. Oh my gosh, it makes me so angry when I see that. All right, so there's always that. Now, here's another thing too, is there's the generic versus the brand. It is the same main ingredient. So it should technically work exactly the same as the brand. So if you have acetaminophen, which is the generic of Tylenol, it should work the same for you as regular Tylenol. It's less expensive because they don't have the branding and the marketing power behind it. Now, there is one thing that you need to be aware of, and this is the big woo, woo, woo. They do sometimes use different fillers, and that can actually affect how well it works for you. That doesn't, I mean, so what I'm saying is don't be afraid to try generic, but if for whatever reason it's not working the way you think it should, then go to the brand. But don't be afraid of generic, because generic is exactly the same main ingredient as the brand name drug is, right? It's like Kleenex versus tissue. Are you trying to tell me that a tissue of a different brand doesn't work as well as a Kleenex? It does. There are a little bit of differences depending on which brand you get, but ultimately you can still blow your nose. Just saying. So keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to try generic. Now, it doesn't always, like I said, the filler sometimes makes a difference in how it works for you, but that's really rare. So, and sometimes because for me, like, what is it? Brand Allegra does not work for me, but generic Allegra does. So, you just never know. And here I am spending more money on the brand name when the generic works better and is way less expensive. So just keep that in mind when you are trying over-the-counter medications. So remember, be sure that you're reading the back of the box for the ingredients so that you're not being charged more for exactly the same thing. And also, don't be afraid of generic. Now, let's talk a little bit about vitamins. Okay, those are pills too. Now, a lot of people don't realize that certain vitamins and certain vitamin doses can interact with other medications that you're taking. They can ruin the effect of them, for example. So whenever you are trying to add in something into your life that you think might be good, like vitamin B for energy or something like that, just remember that you do need to speak to your pharmacist, and then also maybe talk to your doctor about these other symptoms that you're having. And like I said, I'm always going to advocate for the functional medicine, the functional doctor, because they have more of an understanding. They go to school even longer than a GP in these other modalities. So, they have an expertise in that as well as general medicine. So it's just something to keep in mind. I'm not saying give up your wellness routine. I am just saying, just keep your eyes open. So here's the other thing too, is there's always such thing as too much of a good thing. My friend's grandma passed away from eating too many vitamins. She was told multiple times, stop doing it, but she basically caused her body to shut down because her body could not handle all the overload of vitamins, couldn't process it. It got stuck in her. So there is such thing as too much of a good thing. Now, something else that I want you to keep in mind when you're thinking about vitamins is just because you take a vitamin doesn't mean you get to eat whatever you want. It's not going to fix the Big Mac that you had for lunch. It's not going to fix the large shake and the fries. You can't fix your diet by taking a vitamin. You really should be, number one, trying to get as many vitamins, minerals from your diet. That is the best way for your body to absorb it and for it to be the most effective. So you really have to be careful about that too, because like I said, it's not gonna make that much of a difference. Your body probably, won't even accept it anyway, because here's the next part of that. You need to be careful about where you get your vitamins and if they're even a quality. So you need to work with somebody who actually knows what they're doing. Going to Walmart to buy vitamin D or vitamin C or whatever, it's not going to have the same effect and the same quality. I mean, those are some things that you really, if you're going to spend money on yourself, you should make sure that it's actually going to work for you. Because it might only cost you $5 to buy that, but that's $5 worth of pee because your body didn't absorb any of the vitamin from that. So it's really expensive pee is what that is. So just keep in mind. Can't believe I just said that, but it's true. So I want you to keep in mind that it does matter which vitamin that you use. So you want to make sure you have quality. And then that's when you could talk to a naturopath about something like that, or depending on, here's the thing too. Like I spoke with a gut health expert, and she really is a gut health expert. But one of the things that she had me do was take vitamin C and which is a good sort of basis for most people. But the problem is I have an extremely high iron level, and the last thing I should be doing is ingesting more vitamin C, because that increases my iron load. So here's the thing. If you're going to talk to somebody, make sure you have your blood work done. They should be doing panels for you. That's a good sign that, you're getting actual help for you in particular, not just a Dr. Google or something on the on the YouTube. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that, on the YouTube. How old am I? But anyway, you get my point though, is that, you really want to know what's actually going on. Because when you go and you pick something like vitamin B, because you want to have more energy, you are throwing off every other thing in your body. So just adding more of what you think is going to be the answer isn't always the best answer. So keep that in mind, because, the self-diagnosis, yes, you should listen to your body, but you should also listen to the labs. You should also pay attention to your blood work. These are important things for you to stay on top of your health. Now, if you have a doctor, and this is going back to the news that I was sharing in the beginning, if you have a doctor that you feel like is not listening to you, or you just have this inkling that something isn't right, or even though they say everything's okay, don't stop there. Keep going. Find somebody else. Find something until it works. It doesn't have to be the first thing that you try. It doesn't have to be the first person you try. You can keep moving forward until you get the answer that you need, so that you are healthy. It's not all up in your head. I've heard that so many times for people. Oh, well, you're imagining it. No, I'm actually really not imagining it. And if that were the case, then let's figure it out anyway, because it's having a real effect on my body. So, and don't tell me that I don't know what I'm feeling inside of my body. You're standing there staring at me. So, obviously I'm very passionate about this. I see so many people come to me and they're hurting because they didn't get the opportunity to be listened to by their doctor. And sometimes it's a really easy fix for something. And it's never, it's not never, but sometimes it's not what we think it is. And that's why it is important to work with a professional when something is off, or even when things are great. You want to keep going. It's not like you stop giving your car an oil, get the oil cleaned. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with my brain today? You understand what I'm saying? The oil change. You don't want to stop doing an oil change because you had one and your car's running great. At some point, you're going to need, you got to keep up on that stuff. It's going to be maintenance, right? So make sure that you are maintaining your health instead of fielding your sickness. Because I can guarantee you that if something is really wrong with you, there have been signs. There have been signs, and you just haven't been paying attention. That's why it's really important to pay attention to yourself, to your body, to the signals that it's giving you. Because there's always going to be a signal. How many times have you thought about something? Oh man, I knew it, and I should have just, and then fill in the blank. We do this all the time to ourselves. So please, 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 just begging you here, please consider just being on top of your health, and consider it as more of healthcare instead of sick care. You want to take care of your health. Yeah, it's expensive sometimes, but sickness is really expensive. So, and then it takes you out of quality of life. So think about that. Okay. So we will be back in just a minute.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
Okay, welcome back. You know what? I haven't said hello to everybody who's watching us live, and also those of you who are watching us Netflix style on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, all the places, YouTube, you name it. But anyway, I want to say hello to everybody and to mention too, if you have questions for the segment Ask Julianne, go ahead and either reach out to me on Instagram. You can DM me there, or my website. I have a chat box there too where you can reach out to me, and my email's on there also. So you can reach out to me that way as well. But anyway, we've been talking about pills again, pills. And all right, let's talk about supplements. That's another thing. It's different than vitamins in a way. And there's some things that I always, especially as a personal trainer, what kind of supplements should I be taking? And sorry, I guess that was my meathead impression, but I didn't do a very good one. Anyway, so I always get asked, pre-workout, post-workout, all these different things. And unless you are really trying to build your body in a way and at an exponential rate for a competition or something like that, you really don't need to be taking any of that stuff. It's not necessary. In fact, there's been so many studies about the best pre-workout around. And surprise, surprise, it's a good old-fashioned cup of coffee. That's what it is. So if you like the caffeine, go for a cup of coffee, because that will give you a little pep in your step and you'll be able to power through your workout. Ultimately, supplements, same thing. You can't outrun a bad diet with supplements. You just can't do it. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm just saying it can be really expensive and not really have any value. So you've got to be more aware. And that's when you want to talk to like a nutritionist, a health coach, somebody like that, somebody like me. I can help you with that kind of thing. But no matter what, this idea of helping ourselves from the internet, it's a little off in a way because we only know what other people put out there. So it's not like we went to school for that kind of a thing. That's why it's so important to ask experts for their help. It's really that simple, right? So if you can't afford an expert, then you're going to have to do some self-experimentation and figure out what works best for you. And that's okay too. It just takes longer. I mean, nobody has to have a coach. Michael Jordan didn't need a coach. Nobody does. LeBron James doesn't need a coach. Nobody needs anything, but as far as that, but sure as heck makes life a lot easier, and it'll get you from point A to point B a lot faster for anything. You can be self-taught too, but sometimes it's nice to go to school, just saying. But anyway, so with supplements, just be careful because they have a lot of fillers in them too. Most of them, not everything, but that's where you have to start reading the ingredients on the back of whatever it is that you're purchasing and finding out what else is in there. Because it might not be, just because it says it's something on the front doesn't mean that that's actually what it is. So just be aware of that. So make sure that what you're getting is quality. If you're going to put it into your body, make sure it's quality. But your best line of defense is always going to be a good diet and some movement. All right. All right. So I think that is going to be enough for now about pills and prescriptions and vitamins and supplements and all of that. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you have, but I kind of want to switch things up a little bit, and we're going to do something really fun now. Guess what we're up for? Okay, so since it's the holidays, I love doing, and I'm such a huge reader that I always love to share with people what I read because it's taken me a long time to finally figure out a system that works well. And I think I mentioned to everyone before, just in case you're watching now, is if you find an author that you really love, then you can read everything, especially in personal development. And like if you're learning about a topic in particular, then to just really read everything that they wrote and then what they suggest, because then that the likelihood of you picking up something else is going to be pretty amazing. So, all right. So this one is the tiniest little book in the entire universe. I mean, this thing is like small as my hand. Look how tiny it is. All right. Pam Grout, E Squared. Amazing author. I mean, this thing, when I got this in the through Amazon, I was like, are you kidding me? This is the entire book. It's literally smaller than my palm. And I am 5'3", soaking wet. I'm like 110, no, I'm 120 pounds, but I'm small is what I'm getting at. Anyway, E Squared, it's an amazing book. It's for those of you people who are interested in the laws of the universe, but don't really think that it works and that you want proof. So this entire little book is a bunch of experiments that you can do that actually prove to you the laws of the universe, that they work. And there's I don't know, it's definitely worth it. And hey, perfect stocking stuffer. It's the right size, right? Okay, so then next up, speaking of Christmas gifts, I'm telling you, I got this one for Christmas from my fiance, Drew. The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. Amazing author. It's so funny. I didn't even realize it. Almost everything here I have today is all Ryan Holiday. See, I follow my own advice. But anyway, this is really amazing because each day there is a little message from the Stoics, all of the Stoics, like Epictetus, for example, which is one of my favorites. And then an anecdote from what's his name? Ryan Holiday. So there's this, which is really amazing. This on itself is great. Now, this is the companion journal. And this is actually my friend, Eric, Mr. Awesome Swanson, is the one that got this for me. And it's amazing. I don't want to put up a page that I've written on. But anyway, it goes in conjunction with the Daily Stoic, and it gives you the journal prompt, a morning and evening reflection. So, for example, for June 11th, the journal prompt from the book is, and for you to journal about, is how often is anger more destructive than what caused it? That's a really amazing journal prompt. So anyway, if you got somebody who wants to like get their emotions out and really start with a positive day and all that, those are two amazing gifts. So then, as I was saying, it's a Ryan Holiday kind of day. The obstacle is the way. Oh my gosh, this is so good. You could probably get this from the library too if you don't want to really purchase it. But anyway, the timeless art of turning trials into triumph, not triumph. This is a really, really good book, and it's a really simple, short read as well. I like books that I can pick up and set down. Yeah, it's a really good one. And basically the premise of this is to stop fighting the obstacles in your life and really embrace them, and how to reframe it in a way that you actually look forward to those things and you can buzz right through them as if it's a happy moment in your life as well. So definitely it's a quick read, and it's powerful. It took me a while to read it because I wanted to really soak it in. But that's a good one for everyone as well. And then my last but not least book for the day is going to be from Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. Now I'm sure most of you have either heard of this or read this book, and there's a bunch of add-ons like the Fifth Agreement now. And it is such a good book. I can see that it has been written on, and oh my gosh. Okay. So this one, as you can see, we've got, the little ear corners, and then also, I think this was my book, and then I think my fiance got into it. He likes to bend my pages. Anyway, like the Fourth Agreement, for example, is always do your best. That is it's just, or like, don't take anything personal. That's another one of the agreements. But it explains how if you can come to these agreements in your life, then your life will be so much easier and so much better for yourself. So those are my book picks for the for today, I guess. And also like Christmas books and things like that. If you're looking for somebody like me who just loves to read, and or even for yourself, I mean, heck, you deserve to be, I don't know, entertained and educated at the same time. That's why you're here, right? Watching some edutainment. I know. So I do want to say too that we've been splitting up the commercials a little bit more because we're doing a little bit different layout for the show. Let me know if this is a problem for anybody, but we are moving to radio soon. Isn't that exciting? So to do that, we have to change up the way that it is laid out. So just know that we're working with things. So that's why it looks a little bit different. So that being said, guess what time it is? It is time for another commercial.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Welcome back yet again. All right, this is probably my favorite segment. And guess what time it is? I don't know what it is about that little thing, but it makes me want to dance every single time. All right, here is the bowl. And for those of you who don't know, the bowl that my grandpa made for me, I love this thing. It is gorgeous. It's not even my favorite out of all of his woodwork, but it holds the little questions really well. So let's start off with the first question. And it is, when's the best time to start working out? All right. So I think I understand the question. It's kind of like, when's the best time to plant a tree? Yesterday or 10, 20 years ago. I mean, but start where you are. And I think that would be like the way that I would answer that. But here's the thing. Sometimes people think that, because they're older, that it's too late for them to start working out. I actually had a 96-year-old client that, he came to see me when he was 95 and he passed away when he was 96. But he came to start working out when he was 95 years old, and he was with me for a while until he passed away. I mean, you can't get much older than that starting out for the first time, right? And it was really good for him. So any sort of movement, it's never too late to start working out. The one thing I will say though about, for anybody, it doesn't even have to do with age, is be really honest with yourself. And, if you're not sure what you're doing, then please use a personal trainer, one that you trust, one that has been recommended to you or that you've vetted. Not just the one that's handed to you at the gym. You actually really want to pick somebody that will hear you and help you with your specific needs, because everybody has a specific need. I don't care, like Drew, my fiance, is an athlete and he has specific needs. There are certain things with his knees and his shoulders that he can't do. And part of it has to do with his age, and part of it has to do with, knee surgeries and things like that. So, you just need to be honest with whoever it is that you're working out with so that they can help you so that you don't hurt yourself. So the best time to start working out is 20 years ago, but today works too. And later in life, please do. Please don't be afraid. Don't think you're going to be the only one. I have a client that is in her 80s, and she just started working out not that long ago with me. Not saying that she hasn't worked out before, but we work out at her house. I have a few other clients I work out with them at their houses as well. So, there's always options. It doesn't have to be at the gym either. And it doesn't have to be a bunch of heavy lifting weights and things like that. Like most of my clients, we work on balance. That seems to be like my thing with them. So there you go. All right. Next question. Let's see what we have here. Oh, how important is counting calories when you're trying to lose weight? Okay. Well, I don't like to count calories. I think that it is extremely dangerous for a lot of people, men and women. It can be a slippery slope. So what can you do if you're not going to count your calories? I'm not saying don't, because you need to be able to measure where you are and where you're going so you can see if what's working is working or if it isn't. Now, if you are, say, eating a diet where you go out to dinner almost every single night, it might be healthier food, but you go out for, dinner most of the time, or you get processed foods or, packaged foods like protein bars, for example, something like that. And that's how you're eating. It might just be that you need to eat more real food and cook more yourself, or there's different ways you can monitor your food without counting calories. So coming from the background that I have, I'm against it. But like I said, it is important to know where you are, because numbers don't lie, and where you're going. So you have to be able to measure somehow. So something you can do instead, like I've mentioned before, is take pictures of your food. One, it'll make you more aware of what you're actually putting in your mouth and when. Two, it'll make you think twice about certain things, especially if you're sharing your picture diary with somebody. And three, you're actually committed to paying attention to what you're doing. So all three of those things are good, but you're not actually counting calories. So that's what I would recommend, because like I said, it can become a really slippery slope. Your food should not be your entire life. It should be the fuel for your life. And, if you can just make a few small changes to the way that you are eating, then your calories are going to go down anyway. And a lot of the times it's not as much about calories as it is about the quality of the calories. So more quality food, less of it for some people, not all people, and make sure that you're eating as close to natural as possible. And those things, if you're doing those things, then you don't have to count calories. You'll be fine. You'll get where you need to go. All right. Next question. Let's see, where are we? All right. What are some good ways to honor those who've passed during the holidays? All right. Whew. All right. That's a tough one. All right. So especially if you're trying to be healthy, it might not always be like the best idea to bust out grandma's, cookie recipe or something like that. But here's the thing is that is something that you can do. You can honor them by making their favorite meals. You can honor them by different things like, lighting a candle for them in honor of them, playing their favorite music, for example. For my mom, after she passed away, I used to, on her birthday, get her a plant every year. So to honor her, and that's life. So, these are all things that you can do. Or if you want to, make that wonderful recipe so your house smells so fantastic, then you give away most of whatever it is and keep some for yourself, because heck, you should still be, enjoying life as well. So, another way that you could do that too is to actually talk about positive memories that you have of whoever it is that's passed away. Now, if you're in my household, that could take a long time because there's so many people. But which is kind of ironic. But anyway, the point though is that there's always a way. What resonates with you? And if you don't want to think about it, it's okay too. It is okay to pack those feelings away. And I heard this a long time ago and it really resonated with me. There is a gentleman that I went to school with in Italy, and his wife had passed away. And it was like, beyond gut wrenching for him. And he, like, whenever he saw her picture, he would just break down. It didn't matter how long it had been, he just broke down. So his therapist recommended that he put her picture away for a year and then try again after a year. And if he could look at the picture without breaking down, then he could bring out the pictures again. But ultimately, you got to think about what's going to be best for you and living your life now. And there's this saying in AA that I really love, and it's living amends. And it's the idea of living your life different, because you can apologize to somebody till the cows come home about something that you may have done to offend or hurt them, but that doesn't necessarily make it better. What makes things better is changing your behavior. That's what really makes things better. And that's what's called a living amends. So I'm not saying that you need to change your behavior for whoever it was that passed away. What I'm saying is that in honor of them, maybe live your life to the fullest, because you actually still are here. So that's the best way you can honor anyone, is by living your life and being your best you that you can be while you're here in this borrowed little meat suit. So that's my recommendation as far as, trying to honor those that have passed. All right. Next question. All right. How can I tell the difference between my body needing to rest and if I should just push through it? I love that question. It's a toughie, because our brain is going to tell us that, oh, you know what, I'm tired, I'll do it tomorrow. All these different things. And it is sometimes hard to tell the difference, because our brain wants to take the path of least resistance, and our body is like, well, whatever, man, I'm going to follow what you say, Mr. Brain. So the thing that I always say to my clients who aren't feeling well is, well, we'll try working out, and 99% of them feel better afterwards. So that's something that you can try. But there are times, I have one particular client, she so rarely gets sick. I mean, she's like a beast, and in the most wonderful way. And she will, even if she's not feeling 100%, she always works out. And there was one time that we were working out, she's like, you know what? I just can't do this. But she tried. That's how you know. And there are certain times when it's just like, you just can't do it. And that is okay. Then that's not when you shame yourself or feel bad about not keeping your commitment or whatever, because you are keeping your commitment to the wellness of your body, and your body's saying, slow down. Because if you don't slow down, your body is going to make a way to make you slow down, as in sickness, illness, all these negative feelings. So keep that in mind. Try and push through, unless you really just don't think that you can. And if you can't, or there's like a symptom, for example, especially with like COVID and all that, if you think you have something, then you got to think about the other people around you too. So remember that. And that doesn't mean that you don't try anything at home. You could do some jumping jacks, for example. Just because it doesn't look the way it normally looks doesn't mean that you have to stop completely. You can adjust. So let's say your body's extra tired, and you just know that you can't like lift the weights that you want to lift, for example. Why don't you try yoga instead that day? Why don't you try something else? There are breathing exercises too that are really good for you. And it's like doing sit-ups basically. So, there's different ways that you can be more gentle with your body and still honor your commitment to yourself for working out. All right. So I think we have time for one more question. Let's see here. Ooh, I have sleep issues. What can I do? Well, welcome to the club. I used to have sleep issues. I am about to be 45 soon, and I've had sleep issues for about 42 years of that. So I understand the falling asleep, staying asleep, sleeping well, quality, all of the things. I've had it all. So I definitely understand that. There are different things that you could do. The one thing I don't recommend is taking an over-the-counter sleep aid. because one, it says it's non-habit forming, but it is. And then also it changes your chemistry. So, the thing about taking something is the repetition of it, and letting your body know that it's time to go to bed. So instead of like taking those pills or whatnot, or maybe some valerian root, or maybe some melatonin, although you shouldn't be taking melatonin all the time anyway, all these things. Anyway, but have a bedtime routine so that your body knows it's time to go to sleep. Because once you train yourself, it's easy to get up at the same time every morning after you train yourself. And same thing for bed. If you keep on and then lay there instead of getting up to go do something. Some other things are obviously keep the blue lights away from you, like an hour before bedtime. So no more computer screen or any of that. And then here's a secret one that, I've heard all these other things, but this one works really, really, really well. And that is to spend about 10 to 15 minutes of thinking, like programming your brain to think about wonderful things while you're sleeping. So think about what you're grateful for. Thank God, the universe, for the day and for what's going to come tomorrow. Things like that. If you do that, you will sleep more soundly, and it will just be way better quality of sleep as well, because your brain's working on those thoughts. So that's why it's really important to stay away from things like the news and negativity and all of that so close to bedtime. Try and stay away from it if you can. Somebody will always tell you what's going on. So there's no worry about you being the only person on the planet not knowing. People love to spread bad news. So you will be told. It doesn't mean you have to like purposely infuse it into your brain. So those are just a couple things. What I like to do is a cup of tea sometimes. That would tell me, or maybe a bath before bed, reading, all these different ideas, whatever works for you. Just create a little sleep routine. Sleep hygiene is what they call it. But anyway, we are out of time. That's something we could touch on at another time. Let's see. Today's Monday. So Thursday, oh my goodness, we are going to be talking about, and this is so near and dear to my heart, we are going to be talking about other ways to deal with addiction. And what I'm talking about is people who are in AA and NA, or people who have gone to rehab. There is more than that, or people who are, trying to get sober and trying to get off drugs. There is more than just those as opportunities to get clean and sober. And nobody ever talks about them. Never. So when my best friend and I, we talk about it a lot, and how annoying it is that there's only like these certain things that we're told that we had to go out and find on our own. So, I want to share with you guys, for people who are new to sobriety, you can find it on your own as well too. So you don't have to do all the searching around like I did. Anyway, that is all the time that we have. So we will see you again on Thursday, and thanks for watching.